We got a lot of work today to do, sir. We have to go through how many teams? 24? 24 teams.
Yep.
We need to break down on this one.
24 teams. It's just over 18.
Challenge accepted.
Let's do this. Chicago, we're back, boys and girls. We're back.
It is the MMC Boys, guys, back in the house. It is Jeff. That's me. That's Tom. Chef Tom. We're getting ready. You heard the chef in the first blip. He said, let's go to Chicago. We're off to the Windy City. We have to go through 24 teams.
8 teams a period.
Okay, let's get started right away, guys. We're going to roll right back into this. If you watched the last episode, you know we talked about Ottawa, New Jersey, Detroit, the New York Rangers, the Florida Panthers, Boston Bruins, and our Toronto Maple Leafs. So we continue going on here with Chef Tom.
Perhaps one of the more hotter teams right now in the NHL, Philadelphia Flyers.
That's a good team right there right now. They're on fire, and I think this team's turnaround this season can be attributed to their rookie keeper, Carter Hart, man.
I said it when that draft happened. That's going to be the goalie of the draft.
And you know what? I think he's really showing his worth. He's panned out right now. And, you know, we're definitely seeing what a good goalie can do for a team, right? I mean, there's a lot more confidence playing right now. Giroux's taken off. Sean Couturier's really stepped up again this season.
You got
Konechny,
Voracek there.
Voracek, Scott Lawton scoring some goals.
Great.
Patrick's really stepped up his game. So, I mean, if you break this team down, they've got some great young defensemen. There's no question. You got
I'm a big Provorov guy. I'm a big...
you got Haig. You got Sanheim. Like, they got some great players. Oh, I mean, Gudas obviously is a goon. It is what it is.
But he is a bruiser. I'm a firm believer every defense needs a bruiser
Who can skate.
That's
kind of where that's where I situate it when I kind of break down that piece. But, I mean, for me, this is a team who I don't think there's a rebuild kind of waiting to happen here. They got the right players. They got some young stars coming through right now. They got some young guys who are just starting to step up, maybe show some worth. And, you know, I think Philly might be a decent team a lot faster than people thought.
So here's my turnaround question to you. What do you do with Wayne? It's
think,
no secret. I think his best years are beyond him.
I think 3 weeks ago, Wayne Simmonds was getting traded, no questions asked.
Based on where they were.
Bingo. I think right now, with them being where they are, you're keeping Wayne Simmonds. And
it's
you're
kind of addition by subtraction.
He's your rental.
Or, sorry, not trading, so using him as exactly what you pay.
I think they're doing what the Leafs did with JVR last year. You know what I mean? I think they're going to keep him as a rental. They know there's potential. He could be leaving. There's also a lot of rumors saying that Wayne Simmonds doesn't want to leave Philly. But I mean, maybe he re-signs in the offseason. If they start falling apart over the next week, maybe they trade Simmonds. They, you know, fold the season, try and get some pieces for him. Re-sign him in the offseason. We've seen it happen plenty of times. So, I mean, I think that's kind of where Philly's situated. And, you know, obviously there's potential that this team makes the playoffs. And who would have thunk it with the year that they started off with? I mean,
they will have the record
for the most goalies started when Cam Talbot plays his first game.
I think they'll have 9.
It's going to be 9 goalies. Like, that is...
They've already tied the record with 8.
Yeah, unheard of. But injuries play a big part, right?
And inconsistencies. They roll through it. They had McKinnon. They had Calvin McCarr that they picked up off the Leafs.
Yep.
Obviously, they had Neuvirth. They had
injured.
Neuvirth that guy can't stay healthy.
Elliott, Carter Hart
can't stay healthy with
Anthony
Elliott.
Stolarz,
which is now in Edmonton.
Yep. It rolls through, man. And you know what? I like what they did. It's a buy low for them with Talbot. I think, you know, Talbot, maybe another team, change the scenery. You know, he's been a good backup. I think he backs up Hart, and I think a good, solid veteran presence for Hart helps him out as well. So I like the deal. I'm you know what? I really feel like Philly's going to make the playoffs this year, man. I think
they're pushing that hard, eh?
Yeah, I think Simmonds stays. They've been playing great hockey. So I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. And this is a team that I'm not overly worried about.
I mean, they have all the right pieces. Have the prospects, seemingly coming out of everywhere. More so, I would say on the defensive side than offensive side.
Yeah, definitely defensive.
But
okay, I did.
Sorry, you're drawing a penalty.
Sorry, Kaner. That's your fault. You shouldn't have came into me.
That's Philly.
Yep, it was done. Oh, man.
Happening.
That's our defense scoring 2 goals. All right, moving on up. Who's next?
Here's a team that started unbelievable.
It's Buffalo, isn't it?
The Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, my God. All right. I'm going to go right off the bat here. The Buffalo Eichels, okay, they're a weird team for me. Their goaltending is suspect at times. Like, you know, Hutton starts off the year as one of the best goalers in the league. And I'm already questioning how the hell did that happen.
The thing is, like, I like their defense with Rasmussen and
Ristolainen. Yeah.
Sorry.
Dahlin and Ristolainen are 2 phenomenal players. Like, they're going to be building that defensive core for a long, long time.
Like, those are great players to build on.
They are. Like,
that's really all they have for defense. I would. Boy.
But they are a legitimate 1-2. And I mean, really, when it comes to building a 4-5,
they're easier to find.
3 through 6.
3 through 6 are easier to find.
Not a problem, right? Like, you got your 2 key pieces. They got Eichel. Jeff Skinner's having a resurgent year. He's on fire.
So that's actually where I want to talk about Buffalo. I honestly feel, as much as it is Eichel's been playing phenomenal when he's healthy, but I really feel that they go to the beat of Jeff Skinner.
Well, the guy's got 30-plus goals already.
And he's a free agent at the end of the year. So this is the question that's going to end Buffalo right now, our discussion on Buffalo. Do you resign Jeff Skinner? If you do, how much are you paying him? How long are you keeping him?
Oh, man. Well, Jeff Skinner's like, what, 27, 28 years old right now?
I'd say high 20s.
Okay, so yeah, let's peg him anywhere between 26 to 28. Okay. He's had some great seasons. He's had a ton of inconsistencies. I think right now, obviously, he's showing well in Buffalo. He's gelling well with Eichel and the rest of his teammates there. Does Buffalo re-sign him? I think Buffalo's a lot closer to making the playoffs than people think. So I think, yes, if you have the cap space, you want to score to help out Jack Eichel, because obviously he can't do it himself.
Yeah, Opozo, as great of a deal he signed,
he's not what he wants.
He's not what you're going to need to win a championship. You need a goal actual sniper.
Yeah. You need a goal scorer. I think he gives him that. I also believe that you obviously can't overpay him either. So I think there's a good chance it's going to cost them roughly about 8.5 to 9. And that's the unfortunate reality of a going rate of a guy who scores 30 to 35 goals plus. So that's where I see them going with it. I think, to be honest, they will sign him. Because obviously, losing Ryan O'Reilly, a couple of the big, deals they made to get to where they are this season. If you're going to keep with it, stick with it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of actually the haul they got for O'Reilly. I thought was that. Usually when you're giving up the best player in the trade, you're losing the trade.
100%.
But I think that was an overall fair trade.
I think I just killed somebody. I'm throw that one up. Oh, wow, what a goal. Yeah, Tuck the back-to-back, I think, episodes for goals for Tuck. All right, so that's Buffalo in a nutshell. Anything else we need to add to those guys?
Buffalo, I think, is it's good to go. I mean, they're on a little bit of a tailspin a little bit, I think. They're not as hot as they were to start the season. Ultimately, what I'm getting at, Carolina.
I want a Viking clap. Or maybe do some baseball celebration, something. Probably just took a 5-minute major there.
Do a limbo.
Yeah, do some limbo. Whatever else Justin Williams has that team doing. Okay, Carolina Hurricanes. Really weird team for me. I did not think this team would be as good as they are, as quick as they are. They're a bit of a weird team when it comes to goaltending. So, Peter Mrazek, C-Mac. He's been phenomenal.
He was one of the best goalies in his first quarter of the season.
Which is unreal for a guy who's like 38 years old. But, they found a way to win games. Svechnikov played some great hockey. He's been playing really well.
Actually, that was my little tidbit there, is that I think Svechnikov has not actually played to his full potential.
He has
and
not.
Yet they are playing fantastic hockey.
Yeah, like he definitely is not at the scoring pace that you assume, but again, he is a rookie. You get acclimated to the league.
Yeah, you're going to go into it.
Yeah, and I think, he's showing some promising ways. So I think that's been working out well for them. They obviously have some people overachieving. Aho's got like 60-plus points this year. I did not assume him to be at that point. They've got some secondary scoring. Fogel started off the year very well for them.
Yeah. I actually like him. He's a sneakily good player.
Teravainen has been having a great year. Like they've been interesting, man. Very, very interesting team. And obviously the big thing for them was the deal of trading Noah Hannafin. Who really thought how that team was going to pan out after moving on from arguably one of the best young defensemen in the league? And Dougie Hamilton's working for them right now. There's been some rumors that the Leafs have been looking to have some sort of a deal with Carolina.
Either Hamilton and apparently Ferland, the other guy that came over.
Yes,
Ferland. He's apparently supposed to be on the way out.
Brett Pesce, also a big part of that discussion. So, I mean, I think Carolina knows there's a good chance they're not making the playoffs this year. They could look to make another move. But I think they're definitely on the right track to get to a playoff spot a lot sooner, again, like Buffalo, than people, I think, would assume.
And here's my final little bit question for Carolina, and I'm more kind of twists with Toronto. It's no secret Toronto and Carolina have been,
Leafs have had scouts almost for every game, it
seems like this whole year has been Toronto inevitably making a deal with Carolina. I think the biggest trade that was on the cusp of happening if that deal went through, Billy Nylander, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be Pesce that was supposed to be.
Yeah, which to me doesn't add up, to be honest. I think if you're going Nylander, it's got to be Hamilton.
That's my follow-up question. Do you value Nylander at a Hamilton 1-for-1? I don't. I think Nylander is worse than Hamilton.
I think it's hard to tell. Hamilton's been in the league a lot longer, and you know, Nylander I think has a lot more upside. Like, I think what you've seen from Hamilton at this point is the best you're going to get from him. So he's not getting any better, and I think.
But at the same time,
on the flip
Hamilton's
side,
a guaranteed 1-2 defenseman.
See, a lot of people question that. A lot of people don't think Hamilton's any better than the second pairing. So that's a case of, I think, who you talk to, which scout, which this and that. I like Hamilton a lot. I think he's a solid player. But when it comes down to throwing in a Billy Nylander, you don't get that kind of player very often.
Fair enough.
So I think there's a lot more equal value than one would assume. That's my take.
That's Carolina. I just wanted to touch on the Nylander bit, because we did talk about Nylander a little bit last.
Sure did.
So that brings us to Columbus, a team that for me,
we're done.
It's really falling apart. I've always kind of had high hope for Columbus. Hashtag Columbus support. But pull it all together.
They're finished. Bobrovsky wants out. He's leaving. You've got Panarin who wants out. He's leaving. They've moved on from Duclair. Like, Seth Jones is going to be the only piece that's kicking around there. And you got what? Cam Atkinson, who 1 year scores 30, 1 year scores 4? Like, there's no consistency on that team. They don't play good hockey good enough to make the playoffs consistently, and now you're going to be losing 2 of your big guys. Korpisalo, who obviously is on our squad here, there's potential, but they gave up on Oscar Dansk. Like, what else is coming down that pipeline?
I think the other thing that's really hindered Columbus is rewind the clock 5 years ago, and you know, guys like Sonny Milano, Wenberg, Bukestad, like, if these guys hadn't made the NHL yet and they were so highly touted, I guess ultimately what I'm getting at is that they never hit what they were meant to hit. So Columbus should have been way better than where they are right now.
There's definitely some lost prospects who never kind of followed through with their potential.
Oh God, look at Kirby Reichel. How many times has he been traded?
I don't know where he is at this point. Kind of lost track, to be honest.
He was in Montreal, actually. That's the last time
he was.
I caught him. But anyways, that to me is the story of Columbus. That, you know, they had all these pieces, all these, like, great kids in the system, ready to go, and just it didn't pan out.
The stuff was supposed to be going in the right direction. It certainly did not. I mean, that's one of those ones where, what do you do as a franchise, right? Happens, you deal with it. They've, you know, made the playoffs a couple times here. They don't really go anywhere, but they've definitely done stuff, per se.
Oh my God, Chech.
And yeah, I don't know what to think of Columbus. Again, they're not a team who I'm excited for a whole bunch of prospects coming in.
Not anymore.
Or anything of that sort.
Anymore.
Like,
I really was excited for them when those guys I had mentioned were still prospects. But
he quit the league with eczema. Come on.
I know, his article actually,
it was not good. But we haven't got to Chicago, so we're not going to discuss on that right now.
Are you happy with the Columbus talk?
I don't know what else you can talk about in Columbus. I think they've beaten that team with a freaking, like being a dead horse. You know, Tortorella's constantly talking about it. He's ripping the team apart almost nightly at this point, and he's losing his Vezina winning goalie, and he's also losing his top scorer. So I don't know what else you can talk about in this team besides God, be patient, rebuild, and hope for the best.
Try to get some collateral right now as long as.
I think you have to trade Panarin. You have to trade Bobrovsky.
You can't lose them for.
No, you let them walk, and you just drop yourself like 5 years back of your league.
Even if you get like, it's never a secret. When a player comes out and says, "I'm not re-signing," you're not going to get same value.
No, because they know they want out, so it is what it is. But in the same sense, like, get something for it than rather letting them walk.
The only thing I really feel bad for, or a piece that I feel like could still pan out, is Dubois. I will say when he was drafted 3rd overall over Yair.
A lot of question marks.
Question marks, but man,
Yeah, and I mean, again, don't get me wrong. There's still pieces there in Columbus, like Zach Werenski's still kicking around.
Oh, how did I forget about Zach? Love Zach.
You know, there is stuff there. Like, I'm not saying that Columbus is, you know, out in the woods with, you know,
they're going to be a little worse.
No compass, right? But they're going to be lost for a bit. They're going to take some time. Those guys are great, but not going to be enough to carry this franchise to still make the playoffs consistently. And, you know, they're not stopping pucks. And right now, Bobrovsky a lot of nights is stealing those guys' games, and once that's gone, it's gone.
I don't even think Bobrovsky's heart's in it anymore. I think.
Oh yeah, he's finished. Hands down.
So next, I would say to me, the biggest surprise in the NHL this year, Les Habitants, Montreal Canadiens.
What else can you say besides that team has bought into a system and they play hard?
Like, I am baffled. I am baffled that their GM's what?
It's Bergevin.
I'm baffled that guy still has a job from the trades he's made, and yet they have panned out. Maybe they're not long term, a la, you know, losing PK Subban for Jay Weber.
Yeah.
I love Weber, but let's be real.
He's a mean guy.
In the long term, PK is going to be the better answer.
Well,
and yet here we are, Montreal sitting in the playoffs, and consistently putting out a good product.
But let's assess why. So, yes, Shea Weber got healthy. Yep. That was a big part of it.
Carey Price came back.
Carey Price is back to the Carey Price that you know and love, or hate if you're a Leaf fan, I guess. You know, Max Domi's overachieving, or maybe hidden the potential that was once seen of him. You know, Duran is having a much better season. They're getting a lot of secondary help from, you know, Thomas Tatar, Philip Deneau. Like, these were not guys that were expected to do much this year.
Yeah, Tatar was on a waiver to... They sold Pacioretty.
Yeah.
Before the season started.
Paul Byron.
Expectations.
When healthy, chips in.
I'm a big fan of Paul Byron. I think he's a good...
And I think that's what their thing is, right? They play with a lot of speed. They play with a lot of heart. They've had a lot of guys buy into the system that Coach Julien wants them to play. And it just ended up working out. Doesn't always work that way. I don't think anybody Oh.
Was that Kerfoot?
I was definitely Kerfoot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I might even watch this one.
I think that was a laser beam.
It ringed around the rose.
But ringing around the rosy? I'm alright with that. Okay. So, Montreal.
Yep.
Overachieve.
Definitely the overachievers. I think they will take a step back into reality next year.
Has to be.
Because really, they don't have much in the prospect pipeline.
Well, they got Kotkaniemi. That's their pride and joy right now.
Yeah. But I ultimately see him being a really good... I see him being the modern-day Ryan Kesler.
Really?
That's what I see from Kotkaniemi.
To be honest, I think he's got more upside than Ryan Kesler. Like, I think he's going to be a guy who probably gets about maybe 60 points a year. Like, I see him being potentially the next Zach Koivu.
You look back at Kesler and it's like, prime. He was a 60-point getter, and he was a great two-way player. I know you're not a Kesler guy. I know that for a fact. So it's a hard sell. But
I just don't think the points were there consistently every year. I think Kotkaniemi does have that because he's much more skilled than Kesler.
Yes.
And he's a much better skater. So I think there's a lot more positive offensive pieces to Kotkaniemi's game. And I think that's kind of got to be what they're hoping for. That pans out for them.
So my last piece on Montreal before we move on here is Sergachev. Yeah. Is it a lost cause? Not what he was going to be?
It's tough, man. It is very, very tough to tell right now. He's still so young, and I think to give up on him, like with all the promise that he had, I think that would be an extremely difficult decision for them to make. And I'm pretty sure if Bergevin pulls that string, his job is done. Especially if he pans out somewhere else.
Sergachev is in Tampa.
Yes, he is in Tampa.
Yes.
He was from Montreal in the Duran trade.
So that's why I'm getting at right now. Is like, did that trade
I almost got confused there for a second.
That trade, well, your answer. Did that trade sway at this point? Years. Who's pulling out the favorite?
It's not Drew.
Saying Tampa's better.
100%. Tampa fleeced them from the beginning of that deal. No question. You almost had me confused for a second. I was asking myself, like, wait, wasn't he a Montreal guy first? And then I put two together. Yeah, with Duran. Yeah, no, I just Sergachev was in the lineup immediately.
Regardless of the fact that Duran really kind of turned a leaf in
One season.
But I mean, Sergachev hasn't cracked anything above top or been bottom pairing the whole time.
Which is fine. It's working for him right now. When Tampa's got what they got, like, yeah, please try and tell me how he's going to beat out Hedman and McDonough for minutes. Right, so it's kind of one of those ones where it's just by like the spoil of riches that they have. Like, you know, Nick Strawman's or Antoine Strawman's still there.
Well, the thing is, like, they're kind of beating out Auburn, like pretty
quality player though. They got Dan Girardi too, don't they? Yeah, so that's why. Like, you got a bunch of really good vets there who eat minutes and are good shutdown guys. So why rush him? You know, why force him into doing stuff he doesn't have to?
I mean, you gotta learn. The only way you're gonna learn is press stuff in these hard minutes.
But I think right now he is learning through those guys, right? Like learning how to be a good pro, as Mike Babcock loves to put it, and you know, play against those best minutes and see how some of the best pros do it. I mean, Dan Girardi has been a great shutdown guy from his days with
years,
you know, with the Rangers, and you know, who better can you learn from Hedman? He's arguably a Norris Trophy winner every year, right? So I mean, I think he's in a good spot. I think there's definitely a lot more potential for him right now. Duren, there's no consistency to his game. So it's kind of one of those ones, like, which Duren do you get? Do you get the lazy, uninspired Duren that Tampa saw for a long time?
Or the one that's right in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I just wanted to touch on that trade because that was about 2 to 3 years ago. Jeff, I think we're only...
We might only. We're trying.
We're well below our 8 team.
We are trying. How many do we have left?
Quota. We got 5, 6.
Well, let's roll through it now. Let's finish the East.
We're in the third quarter.
Where are we at right now?
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pens. A team who's going to end up on a downswing. It's only a matter of time. They've been too good for too long. You know, Sid's getting older. How long is Kessel going to be around? Are they going to move him because of his contract? Malkin, you know, he's been injured off and on as well. You know, Latanger, he's always been injury-prone guy. They've had to move a lot of their prospects. I mean,
it really.
How long's the turnover and the high contracts catch up to them? I think that's my.
I think the thing that's my very interesting with Pittsburgh is that when Crosby first signed his big deal and Malkin joined him after that, and then they had Fleury and they had Jordan Staal. So they had 3 deep in the center plus Fleury on the back end on the goalie. Like, they were so deep down the center. And that was like what won championship. That was like one of the blueprints that was in the NHL back then. Oh yeah, for sure. But as time's progressed and the cap has gone up, like, those contracts don't look that bad. The fact that Crosby's making 8.7 a year, that's not bad.
It's
now, what he signs afterwards, his new contract comes into play. Who knows?
Well, that's the. Sorry, your player.
I think he's on the downswing. He's gone through his prime. I'm not knocking Crosby.
No matter what, he's still sick.
Still sick.
Right? He's still going to put up like 70, 80 points a year. He's still going to win like 500 face-offs. Playoffs, he'll probably be an absolute like player on drugs.
Oh, he's still gonna, you know, create that trapezoid.
I mean, it's just, he's one of those guys, man. And I think he will get paid when that contract does end. And I don't know, Pittsburgh, too good for too long. I don't think Matt Murray has shown without Fleury there a comfortability. Like, Casey DeSmith is winning starts over Matt Murray.
I think Pittsburgh's biggest question mark right now is, yes, the fact that they're on a ticking time bomb. Sense of their players getting older, even Kessel. But even the fact that their goaltending, I think, gambles more than they are trying to let on.
Well, right
now, I don't think Matt Murray's the answer.
Well, right now they're waiting on Tristan Jarry. If they're gonna have a potential, it's gonna be that kid. And right now, I mean, he's come up a couple times, he's gotten shelled. So.
We touched on it last episode. Goaltenders usually take a little longer to develop.
They do, but when you're in the case of when your superstar goalie, who you kept and got rid of Marc-Andre Fleury for, is not playing like he should, that hurts you. That hurts you bad. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time. Pittsburgh's going to be on that I don't want to say downswing because I think they'll still stay competitive, but
they'll still be competitive.
They're going to look for that potential, you know, slow rebuild, I guess.
Well, I think you're starting to see it like, gradually right now, just based on the fact that, like, you look at their defense. You name me any, like, 3 players not Letang on their defense right now.
Dumoulin, Mata, and
it's just an influx. What I'm getting.
Yeah, that's where it gets.
Like it just constantly just rotates.
Schultz.
Yes, they did.
That took a little bit though. But outside of that, man, yeah, it's. I don't know. I don't know how these prospects like Gensel, how a guy like Rust. Like I don't know how long you can last with that kind of player playing on your top lines.
I think Gensel really is a star.
I don't think. See, I don't think he's a star. I think he's a good second line player, third line player. But he's only good right now because he's playing with Sid. I think there's obviously like a.
There's no secret. Sid makes them like players around him better.
There's a boost.
No secret.
There's a boost there.
No secret.
That's how I look at that one. That's Pittsburgh for me in a nutshell. When those guys start rolling out, it's gonna be trouble.
Last thing I'm gonna say about Pittsburgh is I'm actually a big fan of the trade that they made to get Bukestad and
Jay McCann.
I'm a big fan of getting both those players. I think they paid fair value with the better players.
Well, they weren't using Broussard. They were tired of him. He wasn't panning out like he was supposed to. Yeah, it was done.
UFA at the end of the year. And I really think Bukestad really is a bona fide number 3 player. I think he signed at a fairly reasonable contract, 4.1 mil.
It worked for them, especially in their cap situation.
Exactly, and it's guaranteed years. If they invest in the player that's signed, which, as we discussed before, I'm a big fan. Yep. Always. That's Pittsburgh. Next team is the reigning Stanley Cup champion. Does Washington Gambles? I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it.
So let's just say that the same way we said Matt Murray's losing starts, Phoenix Copley's beating Braden Holtby for starts.
I think that's been the story for like last 2.
So that's kind of been a question mark. Obviously, Ovechkin and the big boys are doing what they got to do. Devontae Smith-Pelly was waived today. So that's, you know, he's the hero from last year, right?
They're saying that they're clearing space. They're clearing cap space. They put him and Jaskin. That's like $2+ million on waivers. Saying that there might be potential bigger moves.
Until I see it, they're a team for me that I don't think is going to be making kind of noise. Like, unless Holtby wakes right up and plays at the elite level that he was in the playoffs last year, and, you know, that team pulls it all together, just, it doesn't seem like it's in the cards for them.
So much about Holtby. I just don't understand how he's going to hurt.
I think of the key factor of what also helped Holtby. There's no more Barry Trotz in Washington.
Actually, that will be very interesting. We're on so Washington, in short, kind of a mess. I would even say from a cap point of view, they are heavy, and their elite forwards, kind of similar to Pittsburgh, are getting up there in age.
Yeah, like Kuznetsov's obviously young, but Backstrom's getting up there. Ovi like Sid.
Oshie,
he's up there. Yeah, Oshie's in his early 30s. Well, that ticking time bomb, as you said, is starting to catch up to Washington as well. It's going to hit Pittsburgh, it's going to hit Washington.
They both came amongst
right around the same time. That's how the cookie crumbles for those guys.
That takes care of reigning Cup champions. In short, they're not going to.
Okay.
Talk Toronto.
Yep.
Talk Boston.
We did.
Next 2 teams, I think, won. So, Barry Trotz.
Yep.
He said, "Thanks for the cup, Washington. I'm leaving." Toronto said, "Hey, you know what, Lou Morello? Thanks for driving the car a little bit. We're gonna give it over to this little kid named Dubas." They both unite in New York. The Islanders. They lose their best franchise player, and yet they are second currently. Obviously, based from where the division is down, but
I think obviously the key piece here is that, you know, they have Uncle Leo. So I think that was the franchise.
That's the game breaker.
That was the franchise turning piece for the Islanders when Uncle Leo signed. you know, Barry Trott's coming in with the system as well. Obviously, a big part of that, and Washington can attest to that because last year, they were able to figure out the system that finally let them win. But that for me is the testament there. It's between those two, you know, Lou. I don't like. What did he do really taking over the Islanders?
Brought in all honesty, he brought in third line wingers, fourth line, or third and second line players. Really, he brought in Commissaric, brought in Leo. Yeah, Komarov, thank you. Yeah. He traded for Matt Martin again.
He thought he was going to be able to squeeze through there, but the door got slammed. He got
grabbed one other player. Pretty sure.
Scooped up.
Oh my god.
But like you say, what? And the other baffling thing with me with the Islanders is that they named Anders Lee their captain.
Yeah, that was quick. I thought.
I'm like, that is
very quick.
Like, if I was Barzal, I was not happy. Oh my god. Why did you not get there?
Yeah, Barzal I thought was going to be the guy, to be honest, once Tavares left. The big one for me is the goaltender. Like, Bryce and Lehner are teaming up to have the best goaltending numbers in the league. Which is insane, because as we know, Lehner obviously showing, you know, promise here and there when it came to Buffalo and whatnot. And Ottawa. Like, very short term, though. It was always in small doses and never enough for him to be able to,
my god,
keep a starting job. Nope. So that's kind of been a big one. And I mean, they're a shocking team. Again, is this last year's New Jersey Devils?
It honestly reads that way. It has to. Like, I'm even looking at their defense. And like their defense, their goaltending has to come back to reality.
Well, those two are not starting goaltenders.
Exactly. It was literally meant to be a patch job. And yet somehow, like, it almost feels like this is the perpetual situation you said with Florida, how it was the Leafs MO, where you're not good enough to make the playoffs and like make noise, but you're not like shitty enough to get a decent pick that will help stimulate, you know, getting talent.
Well, they pulled like the Leafs of like the early 2000s of making the playoffs and always being out first round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
does nothing for the team.
Does
nothing for the franchise.
No, they don't have an arena to play in come next year. Like, they were asked now to play back in their original arena. Should they make the playoffs?
Yeah, for the first round.
Yeah, way back when. I mean,
first round.
It's a mess. It's not a good situation. Like, I don't feel like right now it's a franchise that like players are rushing to go play for, given, you know, all the uncertainties. And I think that was also a big reason why Tavares left. Now, on top of all of the things, right? Like, as a star player, how do you feel when it's like, yeah, by the way, so, you know, we're going to Brooklyn. Okay, we're leaving Brooklyn now. So it's like, what the hell are we doing? Like, this is a gong show. Get me out of this. Get me to a first-class organization like the Leafs. You know, there's one arena. They're putting in little couple upgrades here and there. Like, it just seemed to make the most...
Oh, come on, Kepney.
Seemed to make the most amount of sense. And I can definitely see why things happened as it did. I mean, you know, good for Lou and good for Trotz that they're able to turn his team around. But I'm not buying. I'm an out. I'm a no guy.
I think it is a system that is really what's penetrating and making this happen quick.
So soon.
But really, that's the end of.
Yeah, I don't think it's lasting. There's has to be a rebuild there.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think, like, yeah, they'll make the playoffs because, again, their division's not the best right now. But I think that all in all caps the Islanders. The Cinderella story this year. That's nothing much more. So it leads us to our last Eastern team, Jeff. Tampa Bay Lightning. There's nothing they can't do.
45 wins this year.
Nothing they can't do. The thing that I think the only thing that they lost is Steve. In all honesty, that is the only thing I can say that's a negative of the Tampa Bay franchise, is that Stevie Y is no longer the general manager. All rumors out there, let them spread. Going to eventually end up in Detroit. And Holland's going to pay for it.
He's got to change it.
I think even just for himself, even for like Detroit.
You got to change it up, get some fresh eyes in there, let Stevie Y do, you know, Stevie Y does. He built that team up. That team is, you know, successful right now because of him. And, you know,
and they'll continue to be successful. That's the key part there.
They're built to be good for a long time. Stammer's not that old. Braden Point's a super young guy. They got a lot of great depth guys like Yanni Gourde. You know, Alex Killorn's still kicking around. Andre Palat. The defense is stacked. We touched on that. And you have a legitimate Vezina goalie in Vasilevsky.
To me, there's 2 question marks with Tampa, but I really don't have concerns. They always have a way to figure it out. Is how they're going to deal with getting Brayden Point signed, how much, whatever, and Vasilevsky coming up. If they can get over those 2 hurdles, they are going to be dominant for the next, easily into the early 20s.
I unfortunately feel like Tampa's going to become the next Washington and fail to play.
Really?
That's where I see them. They seemingly cannot get over that hump. You're seeing it.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
How many times in the past, like 3 or 4 seasons, have we heard Tampa's the best team in the East? They're gonna freaking make some noise, and then all of a sudden, playoffs hit, bam, they hit that hot team in the East, and they're done.
I guess you can say that of any President Trophy winners. President Trophy winner, just because you're excelling in the regular season, does not mean it's up.
I mean, you know, work back in the day when like Colorado was leading the league, when it was Detroit, when it was, you know, the Dallases, when Ed Belfour was there. Like, there was a lot more time then when these teams were actually making it consistently or making it to the finals. Maybe they lost, sure, but they made it there. Tampa hasn't made that push in a long time. And I think it's that time now where, unfortunately, guys, it's time to clean up shop a little bit. Maybe look into especially making a couple deals. I mean, Tampa, I think they're a great team.
We got to do our outro here. So I kind of cut you short on that and ask one last major question with Tampa. So if you're the general manager of Tampa Bay today, and anyone is available, who do you take? Forward, talking about second line forward, or we're talking third line forward, talking more grit to get through the playoffs. We're talking about offensive defensemen because they have Hedman, they have Sergachev. What is the one piece you feel Tampa's missing to get over? Bottom 6? And are we saying offensive or more like power forward? Like a Mark Stone?
Much value there they'd have to give up, and I think.
So guys, we tried to get through. It's very hard to.
It's tough, man.
8 teams a period is really tough. But we got through the East. We gave you that much today. I mean, in fairness, what, there's 16, 7 last episode, so we're on par.
We should in the next episode or 2 be able to kill off the rest.
That's what we're getting at here.
And you're only gonna find out if you do what?
Ring that bell so you know it's being posted, and subscribe.
And like the video. Also, description. Guys, you know what it is by now. Go down below, go check it out. We got some great, oh yeah.
I'm gonna figure out what team.
Get to our next team. In the meantime, I'll sign you guys out. Let's make sure you guys are going to check out that description. Go see what we're writing about the episode. I give you guys a quick rundown, try and build into the story. You got the links down there for social media. Follow the MMC. I don't know if we have. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course Twitch, guys. Come see us. We're live streaming as well. Some great exclusives there that Chef Thomas alluded to in some previous episodes. You know, Destiny, Dying Light. Also, what's our other favorite? Division. Cannot forget the Division. That's going to be a big one for us, a personal favorite for us from Division 1 and Dying Light 1. So come check that out. We got our boys Jordan, and we got our boys Austin. We got Skylar. We got a whole bunch of the guys who come out and play as well. It's a great, great time, man. Come visit us there. A little live chat with your boys. Then you play some games. And, you know, you want to go check out below that. Promo codes.
Bad boys.
Clutch Chairz, Clutch desks, fantastic quality. Cannot go wrong saving you some money using our promo code. And last but not least, guys, the place to be, the one you're going to want to go check out, Redbubble, the only place on planet Earth where you can get the official MMC merchandise. No, you cannot go to Mars and get it. It has to be here on Earth. They are all over the world, guys. They ship international. It's cheap prices, cheap shipping. And really, what else can I tell you guys besides the fact that you want to get your hands on it? Wide array of products. You can mix and mingle it on anything. You have 3 logos to work with. What's stopping you today, man? Go do it. The great products, they really, really are fantastic. And it helps us every which way to make sure we can bring you the greatest quality possible in our shooting. And, you know, that's key for us. So, Chef Tom and I appreciate you guys dropping by. Love to you guys. How do we end off this one? We finished the East, and Chef Tom's looking for a trade.
Have to tune into the next time. Battle of the West. Maybe a couple new players in there.
And apparently the Leafs from the East.